Well, hello, boys and girls. It's Wednesday with Principal Sotero. Well, I have to show you my new gift. I have a chef's hat and a chef's apron. And it's red, blue, and white because not America, it says Paris, Paris, France. So that was my gift. So I thought I'm going to wear it for my special day today. Well, today we're going to make an egg muffin. Not an egg McMuffin like you get at Mickey D's, but this is called an egg muffin. This is where you beat up some eggs and put some extra spices in, and we put it in a muffin pan. You could put it in a big muffin pan like this, or you could put it in a tiny bite-sized muffin pan. So either way, it's both yummy. You can pick it up and eat it. It can be great for breakfast. It can be great for lunch, even a snack. So I love eggs, so that's going to be great for me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, first of all, 12 eggs. And remember, 12 is a dozen. So I have my eggs right here. I'm just going to crack them in. And remember how we said that we would take Mr. Thumbkin and Mr. Pointer, and then just kind of, those are the things, and maybe Mr. Tallman, and pull that right apart. We don't want any eggshells in there. It won't hurt you, but it'll be crunchy, and we don't want that crunchy. So that's one. And there's two. Now, if you just tap it lightly and it's not enough to crack the egg, then re-tap it. So like this isn't enough, I'm going to just tap it one more time. So don't worry about that. Then I just pull it apart, so there's three. I'm putting it back into my egg carton because it helps me remember how many eggs I've used. It's kind of my little trick, you know. When you're thinking about things and sometimes you forget and you're counting. Or you can count the egg yolks, but if they all go together, you might miscount. So there again, see, that's not enough. So I'm going to hit it one more time. Well, actually, I tapped it twice. So there we go. And I'm going to make sure all of that goodness, all of the egg whites and yolks is out. Okay. Sometimes I see on TV, when I see cooking shows, they do this. And then they cup it like this so we don't have any drippage. You know, it's not dripping anywhere. I call it drippage. But anyway, so let's see. We're going to get another one. This one seems like it's a smaller egg, even though it's the same box. So you see how we did that? And then I cup it in there. It is really a good way. So, you know, those chefs on TV, they learn lots of great tricks. And I like to copy some of those tricks. You know, like when you're in class and someone says, hey, this is the way I did my math, and I got the right answer. And you're like, oh, how did you do that? And then you ask somebody, and they can show you and help you to learn how to do something quicker, easier, or better. So here we go. I just did that. So now I got 3, 6, 9. You know I'm counting by threes now, not by one. So 3, 6, 9. Here's number 10. Can you think of how many more eggs I need to crack before I get to be at the dozen mark, which is 12? Let's see. All right, now I went to 9, I went to 10, and how many do I need? 2 more. That's right. Good for you. I love when you guys count with me. You know, yesterday I was outside in the playground and I was watching some classes at recess playing, and I heard your laughter and you were running after each other and, you know, appropriately not doing anything wrong. And it was just so much fun to watch you. Kids were just being kids, and kids love to play on the playground. So that was really fun. It really made my day. So here again, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Uh-oh, I didn't get enough, did I? I need one more because 11 plus 1 equals 12. And remember, the recipe said 12 or 1 dozen. So there we go. You know, there we go. So I'm going to do that, put that in there. And I don't have a mess. And then later on, as it's just settling, I could throw that in the garbage. Because otherwise, someone might think, wow, we have a full carton of eggs. But really, we don't, because really, I cracked 12 of those eggs out of there. All right. So remember, we're going to go to our whisk. Remember how we did that? We can use a pinch of grass, or we can use the fist grass. And so I'm going to do it gently because eggs could splatter and we don't want that all over the place. You know, each time that we get them together, I always say, don't forget, you know, when we have to wash our hands and count to 20, sing the happy birthday twice. So this isn't beaten up as fast, so I think I need to give it a little bit more muscle. So what I'm going to do is use my fist grasp, and then I'm going to just gently turn my bowl a little bit around as I'm churning and whisking. And there's my eggs. I'm beating them up, right? So now I'm going to do this a little bit because I want some air to get in there. I want it to be a little bit fluffy when it gets into my muffin pans. Remember, we're making a muffin, with eggs, like an egg McMuffin, but not an egg McDonald's muffin. That's a little different. Okay, so I have this all done, so there's that gooiness in there. So I don't want that to get all over my counter. Come out of there. All right, so I put it there. So now for my recipe, we have that. We need to have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So you can either grind the fresh salt, it's coarse, that means it's a little more crystals and a little rougher, or I'm going to use this salt, so I want it to dissolve nicely. So I'm going to use a 1/4 cup. Remember, a 1/4 teaspoon. Remember, I have to look at the measurements. So 1/4. So here we go, 1/4. So I'm going to put it right in there. Whoa, a little bit too much. Now I don't want it too salty, so I'm going to make sure I have it just to the top. Some people like a lot of salt, so that's okay too, but we don't want it too salty. Now we need some pepper. You can also use ground pepper, or you can use the pepper that's already ground. So I think I'm going to do that, and then I use this hole because when you open up the top, then the other hole is just a sprinkle on, and we don't want that. So again, I'm going to look 1/4, right? And I'm going to kind of dip this in because, oh boy, you don't want too much pepper. So here we go, sprinkle that around. Very good. All right. And then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. This gives it a little bit of a kick, you know, has a little bit of flavor. You know, I love it that the boys and girls are back because I went by the cafeteria and I smelled the bacon cooking. Oh, that was so dreamy. I walked by the cafeteria and I'm like, what are you making? And she said, bacon. I'm like, oh, yum. And I started to get really hungry for lunch. All right, so here we go. So now I'm going to use this here 1/4 teaspoon. You see, this is the one that you would sprinkle. So I have to remove this top so that I can get exactly what I need out of there. Otherwise, I'd be sprinkling it and I really won't know. So that one I'm really shaking because I want to be really sure I don't get too much garlic in there. All right, I'm going to put this here back on. It just snaps on there. So you see how I'm touching things? You really have to have your hands washed, right? That's so important. All right, so now the other thing is you could have like bits of onions, bits of peppers in if you want. Mr. Sotero doesn't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trick him. He won't know. So I'm going to use these are like little minced onions. They'll just dissolve in there, but onions give a really nice flavor when you're cooking. So I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon again, and I'm just going to make sure that I have that built. I kind of just toss it around, and he won't even know it. He'll say, that tastes so good, and he won't know that there's onions in there. So kind of like sometimes when your mom does some vegetables and things, you're like, I don't like those vegetables, and then you say, oh, this is so delicious, Mom, and she puts some healthy vegetables in there. All right, so we have all of our things. This is chopped chives, and I'm going to just sprinkle this on top for a little bit of extra bonus. You don't have to have it on there. And then I'm going to stir this, and the last thing we're going to do is add some cheese. So I want to make sure all of our spices are in here. And I think I'm going to go back to my fish grass and just toss it around and whisk it, and then I'm just going to turn my bowl ever so slightly because I want the salt and the pepper and the garlic and those little onions that I'm disguising inside of all my eggs. All right, now we just need a 1/2 cup. Now I'm using mild cheddar. It's easier when you have the kind of shredded cheese, but you can use any cheese you like. You can use American or Swiss or mozzarella, whatever you like. So that's the beauty of this. You get to kind of shake that up. And you know, some people will add bacon or sausage pieces to it. You could do that too. So that's another way. I love all these recipes. You can be creative and come up with your own. How cool is that? All right, so we got a 1/2 cup in there. I'm going to just do the same thing. Actually, I'm going to go back to that fish grass, right? And just toss it around a little bit. And I like the air to get in there a little bit, so I want some really fluffy eggs. All right, so let's get all of that out so we don't have a mess. So I'm turning it, and I have my hand over, and it's gone. Now, the other thing that's really cool about this is you could do a couple things. You can just spray the pan, which I'm going to spray my little muffin tins. And then I actually am going to cut up some tortilla wrap. You can even cut up little bread, and lay this here just right inside so it has a little bit of a bottom. Like when you go to get a muffin, sometimes there's a paper around it, sometimes there's a little crispy bottom. So I'm going to do that. But the first thing is I've got some butter spray, and you can have butter spray or regular spray. Going to make sure I have a good spray on all the inside muffin areas. And this is going to be fun for you kids, because you know what? Kids love bite-sized things, but guess what? So do adults. They love bite-sized things. Sometimes when you're eating bite-sized things, you're thinking, oh, there's not a lot of calories in that, because it's so tiny. All right. So now I have everything in there. I'm going to use an ice cream scoop. You can use or a little measuring cup. So this way, when I put it in here, it won't spill all over. So 2 things I'm going to do is I cut up some of those tortilla shells, and I just cut them up into triangles. Oh, we know that. Triangle has 3 sides. So I'm just going to lay them crisscross in there, and I cut them up on my board already. So I'm going to kind of do every other one. We kind of like having social distancing. Oh my goodness, we got social distancing everywhere, even in our muffins. All right, so you know we joke about that, but we really want to be safe, right? It's so important. You know, we want us to be healthy, and when you guys are all at school, it makes us so happy, because school's not the same when you're not there. All right, and you know you want to be with your friends. All right, so look, so I have every other one, kind of like your seats in the classroom. And I have this tossed, and here I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just do this, put it in there. And this one scoop, this ice cream scoop works really great, because it's just about what I need. Whoa, there we go. All right, I'm going to put that right on top of those tortilla shells. See how nice this is? It really takes care of that, right? So like, I wonder how much eggs I have to put in each one. Well, one of these scoops is good. And if you don't have an ice cream scoop, remember, be a problem solver. We can use a half a measuring cup, a quarter measuring cup. Those are kind of things that will help you too. Now, one thing I am noticing, my shredded cheese is starting to sink to the bottom. So you know how sometimes in 3rd grade we talk about buoyancy, things that float, things that sink. Well, I just need to toss it so to make sure I can bring it up to the top again. So there we go. Oh, we're getting good. And you might like the tortilla shells. You might even like to have some different types of your favorite bread on there. You could be so creative with these. Remember, this isn't like the Egg McMuffin at Mickey D's. This is a muffin, but it's made out of a lot of eggs, right? And remember what we said. I want you to think about this. If you love bacon and you have bacon at home, you could add bacon pieces. You probably want to cook that first, because I like bacon to be cooked all the way through, because that's important for us. All right, or you could do sausage. So I would cook up the sausage in a pan, cut them up into little bite size, because remember, our eggs are little bite size. Guess what? I have just a pinch in my bowl, so I'm going to just take the rest and just see if I could just add it to a little bit more, because I don't want to waste any of my eggs. This is really great. And you know, you could put it in your fridge. It could last there for a little bit, a couple days. And then you can also freeze them. But things like this don't last in our house, because we take it with our lunches and we have it for breakfast. So you see, there we go. We have some that have the little tortilla shells, so it'll be a little bit extra bite to it. And then when you bake them at 350 for like 20 minutes, it rises up, it gets puffy. So it's like a little omelet, like a omelet in a pan, which is so cool. So boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you liked my new outfit. And I was thinking about you guys, because some of you kids were starting to wear aprons, and I'm like, you look like a professional chef. So remember, you can do it with cheese, any kind of cheese you want, bacon, sausage, vegetables, or not. Maybe just like this. So it's all up to you. So I hope you have a great time. Don't forget to share some pictures with me, because I love, love, love when you do that. Have a great learning day, boys and girls. Bye.